Hello everyone, I'm Aaron, a birding naturalist. Welcome to my channel. I'm in Europe right now. I'm actually on the island of Crete in Greece, and being in Europe, I figured I'd take this opportunity to introduce you to one of my favorite European corvids, the Western jackdaw. Western jackdaws, as I said, are corvids, so they're a member of the same family of birds that include jays, ravens, magpies, crows, that kind of thing. And as such, they share a lot of commonalities with those species. They are very intelligent, they're very inquisitive, they're really good problem solvers, very creative birds. They're really interesting for a lot of reasons. One is, unlike a lot of those other species, these are like a crow that are the size of a pigeon. They're these cute little kind of almost dwarf corvids. They're great. They are really pretty. They've got mostly black feathers, as is very common with many of the corvids, with this nice sort of dove gray back around the neck and these lovely light gray eyes. Really striking, really pretty bird. And they have a bunch of fascinating behaviors. They are hugely gregarious. They love company. During the winter time, they congregate into huge communal roosts. Sometimes tens of thousands of birds together. Winter communal roosting, by the way, night roosting, is something that I've done a video on discussing with American crows that I'll link at the end of this video. And so this is another species that shares a very similar winter behavior. In the spring and summertime, the breeding season, which is what it is right now, they are communal nesters. And so you can see, for example, this is an ancient Venetian aqueduct behind me. And it's got all these sort of little cubbies or holes, little crevices in it. And the jackdaws are loving those little crevices, little cavities to nest in. Interestingly though, they are very strongly pair bonded, which is kind of interesting. They're very communal, but also very tightly knit within their pairs. So usually when a pair of corvids decide to mate up, they mate for life. And interestingly, they stay mated for life. They stay paired together, regardless of if they have reproductive failures or anything like that. If anything else happens, they will stay paired, no matter what. A pair will stake out one of these holes, a specific nest location, and defend it from other pair members, other jackdaws. And they're just zooming all over me right now. They're in the trees around, really fun. Walking around on the ground, on the road. Anyway, so yeah, they're very tightly pair bonded. And like I said, once a pair establishes a particular nest spot, they defend that nest spot from any other pairs. Interestingly, there's also very little evidence, basically no evidence actually, of extra pair copulations. What that means is sometimes in many birds, lots of bird species, you'll have a pair, right? A male and a female. But if anybody does genetic analysis on the young, turns out some of those babies have parents that are not members of those pairs. So one of the members of the pair went and mated with a different individual, and then that baby ended up in this nest. So those are called extra pair copulation. It's mating outside of the pair bond. Jackdaws don't do that. When a pair of jackdaws mate up, they mate for life, they defend their territories from others, and they appear to be very loyal to each other. They do not do any of these extra pair copulations. There's also really interesting hierarchies within this group that are maybe all nesting in this colony, for example. There will be one pair that is the dominant pair, and then underneath that pair, there's the second most dominant and the third most dominant and the fourth most dominant. There's a very hierarchical, very linear dominance hierarchy that if you pay enough attention to a colony, you can figure out exactly who is related to who in relation to this dominance hierarchy. Not related necessarily genetically, but related in like who's higher than whom in relations to dominance. And they hold those dominance hierarchies are fairly stable. They can challenge each other, and there is movement up and down, but that movement is relatively uncommon, and when it does happen, usually they stabilize out pretty quickly. So it's really interesting that they can be that stable and that clearly hierarchical, but yet in these big communal roosts. The dominance hierarchy plays out mostly in selection of nest spots. You know, the most dominant pair usually gets the sort of best nest spot, and also gets access to food first. And then everybody else has to sort of wait their turn and wait their turn. It's also interesting that the males and females share the dominance hierarchy. So in position number 1, there's male and female 1, that's pair 1, and they're really equal to each other. And then in position 2, there's male 2 and female 2, and they're really equal to each other. So it's a kind of interesting social dynamic. They're fascinating, wonderful birds. I've really been enjoying them. I managed to stumble upon another breeding colony that I got some less good footage of yesterday that I'll share with you as well. And yeah, really fun, really charming. They have wonderful vocalizations, really hilarious birds that I'm just delighted to be able to share with you today. So I hope to bring you more stories from Greece. And until next time, thank you for watching and enjoy the natural world.